Hey there, students. On this clip, we're going to be going over some examples and how to evaluate functions and also how to compose functions. All right. So let's go ahead and write down the instruction for the notes. So for f of x equals 2x squared plus 3x minus 1 and g of x equals 2x plus 2, find, for the a part, we're going to find f of 1 minus g of 2. Okay. And then for the b part, we're going to find 2f of 1, f of negative 1 plus f of negative 1 times g of 3. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and find the first piece, f of 1. How do we find f of 1? To find f of 1, we just need to plug in 1 into f of x. Okay, so let's rewrite f of x. F of x is equal to 2x squared plus 3x minus 1. So f of 1 is going to be what you get when you plug in 1 into all the x's. Okay, so all the x's here, you're going to substitute 1. So let me put 2 parentheses square plus 3 parentheses minus 1. Okay, so what am I trying to do now? I'm trying to put in the inputs. The new input is 1, so that goes into places of all the x's. So 1, 1. All right, so this polynomial is now an arithmetic expression that I can evaluate using the order of operations. Okay, so we'll do the exponents first. 1 squared is just 1, plus 3 times 1 is 3, minus 1. It will simplify further. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 3, minus 1. 2 plus 3 is 5, so in this case, we're going to have 5 minus 1. What is 5 minus 1? 5 minus 1 is 4. Okay, so that is f of 1. So f of 1 is 4. Now, what is, so let's write it down here. F of 1 equals 4. And now I want to look for g of 2. So to find out what g of 2 is, let's write down what g of x is. All right? The original function is 2x plus 2. So g of 2 is basically what you get when you plug in 2 for all the x's. Okay, g of 2. And on the right side, I'm going to write 2 parentheses plus 2. All right? So what am I getting ready to do here? I'm getting ready to plug in 2 into the x. There's only one spot for the x, so I just put 1, 2 here. Okay? Now we now have an arithmetic expression. Let's evaluate that. On the right side, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. Okay? So g of 2 is 6. Now that we have f of 1 and g of 2, we can now compute what the original question asked us to do. So it's f of 1 minus g of 2. So f of 1 minus g of 2 equals 4, because f of 1 is 4, minus 2, minus 6, because g of 2 is 6. Okay, so 4 minus 6 is negative 2, and there goes your final result. All right. Okay, now let's shift our attention to the problem on the right. We have to find 2f of negative 1 plus f of negative 1 times g of 3. So the first thing we're going to look for is f of negative 1. But to find f of negative 1, let's recall what f of x is again. Okay, so f of x is 2x squared plus 3x minus 1. Then I want to evaluate f of what? F of negative 1. What does that mean? I'm plugging in negative 1 for all my x's. Okay, we're going to have 2 times negative 1. Oh, wait, let me get it set up first to get the input value. So 2 times parentheses square plus 3 times parentheses minus 1. Okay, so in all those parentheses, I'm going to put negative 1 and negative 1. All right, let's go ahead and simplify. Negative 1 squared is negative 1 times negative 1, which is just 1. And then if I do 3 times negative 1, I'm going to end up with negative 3 minus 1. All right, simplifying further, 2 times 1 is 2. 2 minus 3 minus 1. Okay, 2 minus 3 is negative 1. So minus 1 equals negative 2. So this is f of negative 1. So f of negative 1 is simply negative 2. All right, so anywhere we see negative 1, we're going to replace it with negative 2. Okay, All right, let's go ahead and find the next component, which is g of 3. So to compute g of 3, let's write down what the original parent function is. So the original function is 2x plus 2. Okay? So now we're going to look for g of 3. Okay, so what on earth does that mean? What does g of 3 mean? Well, let's get this prepped first. Well, g of 3 basically means that wherever I have x, in g of x, you substitute it with the new input, which is 3. So put a 3 here. So we'll work it out. We're going to have 2 times 3 using the order of operations. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 2 equals 8. Okay? Now let's find the original, what the original question asks us to find, which is 2 times f of negative 1 plus f of negative 1 times g of 3. Okay? So to find that, all we just simply do is we take the value of f of negative 1 and highlight them. We're going to take this value right here, this value, and this value, and we're going to put them in their respective spots, okay? So f of negative 1 is negative 2, so I'm going to have 2 times negative 2, because negative 2 is the value of f of negative 1, plus another f of negative 1. F of negative 1 is negative 2. F of negative 1 shows up twice, and then g of 3 is simply 8. Okay, so g of 3 is 8. Okay, so that's what we're going to use. Now let's simplify this using the order of operations. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. And then negative 2 times negative 8 is negative 16. And you combine these two, you get negative 20. And there goes your final answer. Okay. All right, so this is these two examples are in evaluating functions. Now let's go ahead and shift our attention to the whole idea of composition. Okay, composition of functions. All right, so let's write down the examples for these ones. All right, functions. So for this one, you underline it first. All right, so the instructions are as follows. For f of x equals 2x squared plus 3x plus 1, g of x equals 2x plus 1, and h of x equals x squared plus 2x. Find f of g of x and h of g of x. Okay? This is the first part, f of g of x. So how do we find f of g of x? Well, if you take a look at this, you notice that this function on the outside that comes first is the parent function, and g is the input function. So we're plugging in g into all the x's in f. So whenever I have x in f, you're going to plug g into that. All right? So how do we set it up so we don't get confused? What we do is we first of all write down the parent function f of x, which is 2x squared plus 3x plus 1. Now we're going to get this function prepped for an input, okay? So how do we get it prepped? You clear out all the x's. The name of, we're going to write f of parenthesis equals 2 parenthesis square plus 3 parentheses plus 1. Okay, what did I just do? All the x spots here, all the x's, I cleared them out and replaced them with parentheses, okay? Now the name of the input function goes on the left and the value goes on the right. Okay, so what is the input function? Let's write it on the side here. This is g of x, which is 2x plus 1. Okay, so the name is g of x, and the value is 2x plus 1 that goes on the right side. So you have 2x plus 1, and then 2x plus 1. All right, let's simplify this. Now we're going to simplify this using the rules of algebra. Simplifying the algebraic expression. So to simplify this, we're going to write 2 times 2x plus 1 times 2x plus 1. It's written twice because of the square. What square mean? It means you multiply something by itself. On this side, we're going to distribute the 3. So that's going to give us 6x plus 3 plus 1. Okay. Now this, for this two quantities here. We're going to expand it by doing the first outer, inner last. Let's form it out. Just keep the 2 first because we get to do the exponent first by foiling it before we multiply by 2. Okay, so before this out, we're going to have 4x squared plus 2x plus 2x plus 1 plus 6x, and then we can combine these two. 3 plus 1 is 4. Okay, now let's simplify the quantity in this parentheses before we distribute, or you could distribute, it doesn't really matter. So let's simplify first. We're going to have 2 times 4x squared, 4x squared plus 4x plus 1 plus 6x plus 4. And when you distribute 2 to all these 3 terms, we're going to have, we're going to have, we're going to have 8x squared plus 8x plus 2 plus 6x plus 4. Okay, now let's combine like terms. We have 8x squared by its own is the only second degree term that we have there. We have 2 first degree terms, namely 8x and 6x. If I combine 8x and 6x together, I'll have 14x. Okay, and next thing I can combine is 2 and 4. They're the 0 degree terms. 2 plus 4 is 6. Guess what? This is f composed with g of x. Okay, so there goes the first answer. Go ahead and box that. All right, now let's do the second part. We're asked to find h of g of x. Okay, so let's write that down. H of g of x. So let's take a look at this. Which is the parent and which is the input? If you notice that h is on the outside, g is on the inside, h comes first. This comes next. So this is the parent and that's the input. So what this command is telling us to execute, or what this operation is asking us to do, is to plug g into h. Okay, anyway, you have x in h, you plug in the value of g of x. All right, so let's refresh our memory by writing down what the parent is, identifying the parent, which is h of x, which equals x squared plus 2x. All right, so we're going to write h parenthesis equals parenthesis square plus 2 parentheses. Now something is about to happen to h of x. Why did I tell all the x's from h of x? Well, because it's about to get an input function, namely g of x. So let's identify the input function before we make the substitution. G of x is 2x plus 1. Now the name of the input goes on the left side and the value goes on the right side. 2x plus 1 and 2x plus 1. Okay. Now let's go ahead and simplify the right side using the properties of algebra. So this square means that 2x will be multiplied by itself. 2x times 2x plus 1. And on the right side here, you distribute the 2 to these 2 terms. We have 4x plus 2. Now let's pull this out. We're going to do the first outer. Let me do that again. Sorry about this. First, outer, inner, last. Okay? All right, so let's do it. So we're going to have 4x squared plus 2x, first outer, inner, 2x plus 1. We already did it up here. I'm just doing it again for extra practice. Plus 4x plus 2. Let's simplify this completely first before I drop the parentheses, okay? So that's going to become 4x squared. I combine the 2 middle terms, plus 4x plus 1 plus 4x plus 2. Okay? So now let's go ahead and combine like terms. So we're going to have the only second degree term is 4x squared. So let's bring it down. That's for first degree terms, we have 4x and 4x. So we can combine these two to give us plus 8x. And then the 0 degree terms are 1 and 2, the constants. 1 plus 2 is 3. So there goes your h of g of x. Okay? So there you have it. So thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video. Please subscribe to my channel by clicking up here so you can get updates and other cool videos such as this. You can also share this video with your friends on Facebook or Twitter. More videos can be found on mygearstart.com. Thanks again and have a wonderful day.